All right, let's dive right into a topic that, honestly, every single Vue developer needs to master: optimization. We're going to do a deep dive and get your apps running lightning fast.
This question. I think we've all been here, right? You've poured your heart into building this awesome app, and it's just slow. You're staring at the screen, feeling that lag, that little bit of jank, and it's just so frustrating. It's a feeling we all know, and let's be honest, we all hate it. But here's the good news. We are going to turn that exact frustration into real, actionable solutions. The goal here is simple: to give you the tools to take any laggy app and make it feel incredibly fluid and responsive. We're talking blazing fast. Okay, first up, let's tackle reactivity. Now, Vue's reactivity system is, well, it's magic, right? It's one of the best things about the framework. But like any powerful tool, it has these little hidden traps, these silent performance killers that can sneak into your code if you're not careful. So for anyone still working with Vue 2, this one is a classic. You see on the left there? If you try to add a new property to an object, like age to your user, Vue just won't see it. Same thing if you try to update an array item using its index. It's a known limitation. The fix, as you can see on the right, is super simple. You just have to use this.set. That's the magic command that tells Vue, hey, pay attention to this change. Now you might be thinking, what about Vue 3? Well, it's way smarter with its proxy-based system for sure, but there are still some new gotchas. The biggest one? Destructuring props. It feels so natural, but if you do it like you see on the left, you completely lose reactivity. You have to use toRef to keep that connection alive. And a couple of other things. toRaw is a one-way street out of reactivity, and you can't just push reactive objects into a plain old JavaScript array. The safe bet? Always wrap your collections in ref or reactive. All right, next section, and this one is huge. Computed properties versus watchers. I'm telling you, understanding when to use which is an absolute game changer for your app's architecture, its performance, and just how easy it is to read your code. It's probably one of the most common questions you hear from Vue developers, especially when they're starting out. When do I use computed, and when do I use watch? It seems simple, but getting this right is just so important for building clean, efficient apps. Let's just boil it down to the absolute core difference. Think of computed properties as data. They're for creating a new value based on other data. The key things to remember are that they're cached and they're lazy. They only run when they absolutely have to. Now watchers are for actions. They don't return anything. Their whole job is to do something when a piece of data changes. Think API calls, saving to local storage, that kind of stuff. They're all about side effects. Okay, here's the rule of thumb, your new mantra. Ask yourself, do I need a value? If the answer is yes, use computed. If you ask, do I need to run some code or perform an action? Then you need watch. It's that simple. And watch effect, that's kind of a special case watcher. It's really handy because it automatically figures out what to watch and it runs right away. Great for when you need that kind of immediate auto-tracking behavior. All right, now we're getting to the big one. Seriously, if you take only one thing away from this whole explainer, make it this. Lazy loading is probably the single biggest performance boost you can give your application's initial load time. It's a total game changer. I mean, just look at that number, 70%. That's not a small tweak. We're talking about a potential massive reduction in the amount of JavaScript your user has to download just to see your app. What does that mean in the real world? It means your app feels instantly faster. The time to first paint, the time to interactive, it all gets so much better. It's just a huge win. And you know what the best part is? It's actually not that hard to do. For entire pages, Vue Router makes it dead simple. You just change one line to use that dynamic import syntax and boom, your pages are now code split. The code for a page only gets downloaded when the user actually goes to it. And for those really heavy individual components, maybe a big data grid or a charting library, you've got define async component. Same idea, just on a component level. Okay, we've hit the big foundational pieces. Now let's switch gears into more of a lightning round. We're going to cover some pro techniques from the advanced toolkit. These are the kinds of optimizations that really separate the good apps from the truly great ones.
First up, some quick wins you can literally apply today. Got some static text like a footer or a header that never ever changes? Slap a v-once directive on it. Vue will render it once and then completely ignore it for future updates. It's free performance. Next, V for loops. Please use a unique ID for your keys, not the index. Using the index can cause all sorts of weird rendering bugs and performance issues. And finally, if you have some big static configuration object that doesn't need to be reactive, don't wrap it in ref or reactive. Just keep it as a plain JavaScript object.
Okay, now for the heavy lifting. What if you have a huge, complex object, like an instance of a map or a chart library? Use shallow ref. This tells Vue, hey, only make the top-level property reactive. Don't bother going deep into this massive object. It saves a ton of work. Got a list with thousands or even tens of thousands of items. Don't try to render them all. Use a virtual scroller. It's a clever trick that only renders the handful of items the user can actually see. And teleport is amazing for things like modals and pop-ups. It lets you teleport them out of a messy component structure to the end of the body, which can really clean up your DOM and prevent rendering headaches.
So, we've gone through a whole bunch of different techniques, right? But what does this actually look like when you put it all together? Let's take a look at a real-world example and see the incredible transformation from slow to super smooth.
Okay, let's imagine a classic, complex dashboard. In the before world, it's a performance nightmare. It tries to load every single chart and table right away. It's trying to render a list with 5,000 items, which probably freezes the browser. And a search input is firing off an API call on literally every single keystroke. It's a disaster. Now look at the after column. This is our optimized world. We're lazy loading the heavy components. We're using a virtual scroller, so we're only rendering maybe 15 items at a time. And we've debounced that search input so the API call only fires when the user actually stops typing. See? We've used the exact techniques we talked about to solve each specific problem.
And what are the results of all this work? Well, they're not just small, little tweaks. We're talking about a massive impact, a load time that's 40 to 70% faster, half as many re-renders, which means less work for the browser, and the end result for the user, a UI that just feels incredibly smooth, snappy, and responsive. It's a night and day difference.
And I really want to leave you with this one key idea. The goal here isn't to just memorize a list of optimization tricks. Anyone can do that. The real skill, the thing that makes you a performance expert, is developing the intuition to look at a slow part of your app, diagnose the real problem, and then know exactly which tool from your toolkit is the right one for that specific job.
So, as we finish up here, I want you to think about your own projects. What's that one thing that's been bugging you? That one slow component, that janky list? What's the very first bottleneck you're going to go and fix using what you've just learned? Go make your apps faster.